Hello and welcome back, everyone. Today I'm going to be discussing native versus non-native plants. What is a native plant? It's something that's grown in a region for a very long time. It's used to the climate around there. A non-native plant, maybe something from the horticultural trade, maybe something in the case of the US. I'm in the eastern half of the US. I bring something from the western part of the states over to here. Even though it's a native to the US as a whole, it's not native to my region. Now, non-native does not mean invasive. Invasive is something that your state or country has deemed an invasive plant. Gives a description, there's a whole list of different plants, maybe some pictures. Now, this is a discussion that has been going on for a very long time. A lot of people say native is better. I disagree. Now, the reason for that is the changing climate. Even here in the eastern half of the US, we're getting heavier rains, but those rains are spread out over a much longer period of time. So maybe I have to bring something from the southern part of the country or the horticultural trade. They're used to those longer periods of drier weather, and that can withstand those heavier rains. Now, the native plants may not be used to that, or they still need time to adapt, and you're going to suffer a lot of losses. What I look for native plants though, because I do have a mixture of native and non-native plants, is it a host plant for something? Think butterfly weed for monarchs, goldenrod, or switchgrass for different moths. Or in the term, I have a violet growing here. It's a native, and one bee likes the violet because it's the host plant. Bad, I guess, decision in terms of the bees or monarch butterflies, because they don't have many plants in terms of host plants that they can adapt to. However, a non-native plant, think dill, great host plant for black swallowtail butterflies. However, it's a non-native plant, but it's still a host plant for something. So my biggest factor in determining what native plant I choose is not if it's native to the region, it's will it be beneficial to the insects as a host plant that can help them stabilize their populations, help them out that way. Now, there is some research done that city bees compared to country bees were a lot more healthier, and that's because of the varied diet with different flowers coming out in that city or cities. So native plants not playing as big of a factor. So what I look for in non-native plants or in my gardening in general is having food sources throughout the different seasons, so those insects or hummingbirds, whatever the case may be, is fed. They have cover. Maybe think frogs and toads, they're covered so they can not be eaten by predators. So those are different things I think about when planning out my gardens. So your garden can be beneficial to native wildlife. It can be beautiful, can be sustainable, can still provide a purpose, even though it's not a native garden in the gardening sense. A lot of people get hemmed up on that, but it's not that big of a deal. But I would consider, if I was a gardener, if that plant is a host plant for something. Here's a good example of how you can mix native versus non-native plants. This is Fadagelia gardenii. It's not much of a host plant, but it provides cover, it's beautiful, great early food source for pollinators. And around it I have Maltese cross, dahlias, cosmos, verbena, lemongrass. I have switchgrass in front of it, another good host plant. You saw the showy goldenrod in the video. They're still tiny, but another great host plant. So you can intermingle all these plants, have a great looking garden, and not feel sorry about it. Oh, it's not an all native garden? Well, you're hitting your basics, you're providing a host plant for something, or a food source for something, or shelter for something, and you're benefiting it as a whole. Like I said, the biggest thing I consider is carry on those food sources or shelter for different animals throughout the ever-changing seasons, so they're not starving, they have a ready food source, they have a varied diet, and they're the healthiest they can be. And if I do have a host plant, whether it be switchgrass, goldenrod, butterfly weed, or you know what, you can even throw some logs in there for salamanders or different beetles, something like that. You can have a great looking garden, and it benefits everything. And you don't have to settle for just an all native garden, all ornamental garden. You can have both, and you can intermingle them and not feel bad about it. If you like what you saw, please go ahead and subscribe. And until next time, everyone, bye-bye.